put back to other duties at the end of their careers in Boston. This is a picture of Engine 18 galloping in Dorchester. Is that you on the bike, Frank? Nice picture of our ladder 15 coming out of Boylston Street. They had a real tragic accident one day with their horse-drawn truck. They were making the corner of Boylston into Mass Avenue, and the wheels of the truck got caught up in the tracks, and there was an accident. The horses went over. One of the horses, named General, had a pole go through him, and he had to be euthanized on the scene. And that was certainly a sad event for the firefighters. Before the days of aerial ladders, picture of ladder 1, Captain Ed Shallow on the side, taken downtown. That was a lot of straight wooden ladders. That's why he needed a lot of help to get those ladders up. This is a great picture of ladder 13, the captain of ladder 13 on the side. 3-horse hitch. In the winter, they put 2 more horses on. There's a Tillerman underneath that ladder in the rear. And they used to put the detailed in horse in the middle, oh no, I'm sorry, on the sides, because only the horse in the middle knew the routes. So that's a nice one at 13. This is a combination wagon 2. It's on Emerson Street in South Boston. That became Ladder Company 19 in 1905. This shot I've included, it's actually a motorized apparatus. What you can see is this is the Fort Hill Square Firehouse downtown, where International Place is today. By coming out, well, you see the ladder truck obviously right there with the Tillerman. Behind that you can see the Christie front drive steamer, and behind that a motorized piece of apparatus. But if you go off to the left, you'll see there's still horses in service in the city. They continued to work for many years after. They were the backbone of transportation downtown. These are 2 pieces that were purchased in 1897. They were self-propelled steamers. And the fellow up front got that big steering wheel. He could steer it. The scary part is it was the guy in the back step that controlled the speed. So you want to stay on good terms with him. And these were terrific pumping engines, where the regular steamers could maybe go up to 500-600 gallons per minute. These would go up to 1,300 GPM. They were really terrific, and they were really well built. They stayed in service from 1897 up to around 1927, 1928. One was on Mason Street, the Hog, engine 35. Engine 38, called Jumbo, was over on Congress Street, where the Fire Museum and the Boston Sparks Association currently is. Here's a house in transition, engine 11, East Boston, showing the horses with the steamer and the lightweight wagon beside them, the hose wagon. Nice picture of engine 8s with the spotted, dappled horse there, down on Salem Street. It was a tough place getting out of. As romantic as it was to have horses pulling fire engines, there were a number of reasons they wanted to get rid of the horses. One was the drawback on cutting close radiuses. And this was one of the tough houses to get in and out of. I don't know how they did it on Salem Street. Another reason was the horses, if they did one round, they wouldn't really bounce back and be ready for another one. And on some of the longer runs, they used to have to stop and rest them. There was also one account I read where the horses were trying to get up a hill, and they actually had trouble making the grade and started going backwards. One thing about Boston is it's a very hilly city. For those of you who aren't aware of it, the Back Bay is the only part of Boston that is without hills. So the horses had their hands full on making the grade. This was a nice shot of Engine 8's house, where we just saw the horses outside. This building still stands on Salem Street in the north end. It's just being renovated into residences. We had a good opportunity, the Historical Society last year, to get down and visit with the new owner and go through the inside and explain different parts of it to him. Ladder 17 in downtown Boston. Ladder 17's horse-drawn truck, on one occasion, misnegotiated a turn, and the team of horses went through the display window of the Payne Furniture Company. It was dangerous. They ran through the cities fast, and it was quite a sight. This is a nice one of the Ladder 13. Tiller seat is down below the ladder. It's on Warren Avenue, and that firehouse still stands there today. It hasn't been a firehouse since 1960. Now we're coming up to 1910, Boston's first motorized engine, gasoline motorized, and it was Chemical 13 out on Walk Hill Street in Jamaica Plain. The city originally put these motorized pieces further out because that's where the longest runs were for the horses. Downtown had the shorter run, so they kept the horses there the longest. But if you look at this piece, you'll see that tank underneath the seat, the chemical tank. And again, this was really key to getting out quick and getting a quick line on fires. There's a nice picture of Engine 37's wagon. They got it in 1912. Again, that's got the chemical tank on board, and it has the hose bed. I can't see that well. Yes, it does have a deck gun set on it. This piece was not scheduled to be in service too long, though. There was a terrible fire following January of 1914, a Bacon fire at Washington and Ruggles Street. This photo says 1912. It was actually 1914 the fire was. And that's the wagon there. It collapsed and it killed a firefighter, Joseph Hackett, who was the aide to the deputy chief. He was killed by the fallen wall, and you can see how 37's wagon was hit. That date is also famous. That's another picture of the fire. That date is also famous. That is when James M. Curley was first elected mayor of Boston, unseating Honey Fitz. And the grudge that came out of that election lasted Curley's entire life. The Kennedys never forgave him for what happened and how he ousted Honey Fitz. Honey Fitz got a little involved, similar to a couple of generals today. And Curley used that to his advantage to get him not to run for mayor again. And the Fitzgeralds never forgot it, and the Kennedys. We're looking here at Engine 3's house. This is a Christie front drive. You see a couple of the guys, kind of a full-figure guy on the right there, up on the motor hood, and that's a Christie front drive. They replaced the Husses around 1916, 1915. They put these Christie front drive units on the steam engines, and they gave the city a lot of good service. Nice picture of Engine 8 with the Christie front drive. You can see they had to put the chains on to get through the winter. This is hooked up with the Lowry truck. We used them up until a few years back. A number of fires downtown. Those Lowry trucks right in the street really helped out. In fact, we had trouble with the high pressure system at the Chinatown fire. The first water we got was Engine 10 connecting to a Lowry truck in the street. Picture of Engine 25's Christie making its way downtown. Unlike the self-propelled steamers, these guys had the brake and the gas up in front with them. These were gasoline powered. Picture one of the early wagons down by the Custom House. They're trying out the deck gun. This is Engine 41's Robinson out in Brighton. And this was gasoline powered engine and had the chemical tank on board, and that big dome is kind of reminiscent of what you'd see on an Aaron's Fox up forward was the pressure dome. Must have been a piston type pump where they had the air cushion. It was one of the earlier motorized pieces. Now this one, I put it in for you ladies. This is actually in the 1930s, and it's up in Lowell. It's a Boston engine going to a fire there. But the reason I put it in there for you ladies can see it's the only picture of a man stopping to ask for directions. Nice photograph of the self-propelled steamer making its way up to Tremont Street, downtown Boston, across from the Common. This was black and white and black when I started. There was a newspaper article about them trying ladder 26 out, a piece of apparatus, motorized apparatus, to get to top of Parker Hill. And they did it in 2 minutes and 53 seconds from the old house at Longwood and Brookline Avenues. That was absolutely terrific. And that's when they started buying the motorized ladder trucks. Those of you who can recall the big FWD ladder trucks, I think they were purchased in 1949. The city located them where there were hospitals on the hills. Ladder 5 had one because of Kearney Hospital in South Boston. Ladder 7 had one because of St. Margaret's Hospital. Ladder 14 had one because of St. Elizabeth's hospitals. So this fire department was always aware of what could happen, snowy weather, trying to get a ladder truck up these hills to get them up to where the hospitals were located. Picture of one of the towers. I can't make out the number on it. This may be the last horse-drawn tower the city purchased, and they did motorize it shortly